Now it's time for a question from the audience.
Hi, Chani. My question is about having a benefic and malefic planet in the same house. For example, I have both Jupiter and Mars in the 12th house, and I'm wondering, do they cancel each other out? Do they work together? Do they balance each other? How does that work? Thank you.
Great question. They never cancel each other out, and it all depends on the sign that they are in. It depends on the sign that your malefic and benefic are in, if they're in the same house, because obviously, or if it's not obvious, certain planets do really well in certain signs and also don't do well in other signs. So how well is your Mars doing? Like is it in Scorpio, for example, or are they both in Aries, for example? Then Mars would be the ruler of them. Or if it's in Capricorn, then that would be really good for Mars and it wouldn't be that good for Jupiter at all. But without knowing the sign that the planets are in, what I can say is that it's always going to be good for the malefic and hard for the benefic unless they're on the same team. And I say that with an asterisk and a caveat because also there's an addendum to that. But if it's Mars and Venus, it can be a little better than if it's Venus and Saturn because Mars and Venus are on the same team. They're on the night team. So they play on the same team, we could say. So if you're born at night, Mars and Venus are your planets along with the moon and maybe Mercury. If you have Jupiter and Saturn together, they're on the same team. And so they get along better. They're doing the same job. They're on the same mission. And while the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction will most likely be better for Saturn than it is for Jupiter, they're trying to do the same thing. But you have a different team cross collab, which is a little harder. So we're talking about Mars and Jupiter together or Venus and Saturn together. Now, having said that, Venus and Saturn honestly share a sign where they do really well in. So if you have Venus and Saturn in Libra, then Venus is the ruler of it and Saturn's the exalted ruler of it. So that is a very good combo to have. Or if you have them both in Capricorn, if you have them both in Aquarius, then Saturn's going to rule that and it can help Venus to some degree. Or if they're both in Taurus, then Taurus or Libra, like I already said, or Pisces, then Venus is the exalted ruler of Pisces or the ruler of Taurus and Libra. And so that can really help. Then Venus is really helping Saturn. So it depends. Are they in one of the planet's home signs? And then if so, at least there's a resource for the other planet to draw from. If they're both in a sign that neither one of them has any relationship to, especially if they have zero relationship to it, then it's kind of all bets are off and we have to see what places in the person's life those planets rule and how well those parts of your life function. And it also depends on if they're coming into a conjunction, like are they close together? Are they applying? Are they moving towards each other? Are they separating? Will they ever get to each other? Because sometimes, we're past that point or they're never going to come together, or at least not within that sign. So it all depends on the speed of the planets, the relationship of them. In general, it doesn't cancel them out. It doesn't cancel out the goodness that Jupiter can do or the importance of Mars and what Mars can help you do. Again, in your condition, in your situation, Mars is being helped by that Jupiter. And Jupiter's got to struggle a little bit because it's got a little bit of a nemesis with it. It's like in the room with the planet that's like doing a different job than you, than the Jupiter, than the good planet. But depending on what else is aspecting them, like do they get help from Venus? Do they get help from the moon? Do they get help from Mercury? Again, I want to see like what sign they're in and then where is that planet that rules that sign? And can that planet help them? Can that planet be the thing that's like, okay, if you focus here, then we can use that conflicting paradoxical combination and we can pour it into this other thing. Because the point of the matter is that we are all paradoxical, weird beings that are problematic and beautiful and all of it. Like we're all something. And our charts reflect that. So our charts aren't supposed to be these neat little segments of our personalities and of our life that get tied up in this neat little bow. Most of us have this mixture of things that's like, oh gosh, if I just didn't have that, then this thing would be better. But if I do have this, and that makes this great. I mean, most of us are like, this mishmash of signatures. And that's a reflection of who we are. It's not like we want the best chart. I mean, obviously our ego wants the best chart, but it's more like, what does this chart say about what I already know about myself and what I could learn more about in myself? So having Mars and Jupiter in the 12th house, Jupiter in the 12th house is kind of like a light in the dark. It's a hope in a place where we can feel hopeless or where other people can feel hopeless. A lot of times when I see like benefics, good planets in dark houses, like the 12th house, either you might bring in some sort of teaching or light into places where people feel really limited or where systems have limited them on purpose, or you kind of come in with a bouncy kind of spirituality or a faith in life or a generosity for no reason, but that's just how you're made up. Mars there is like, it's going to do battle behind the scenes. And so maybe you do battle for good behind the scenes or in systems of oppression or in systems that work to, try to confine people in ways that are unfair. Systems of oppression, again. So it's like, how do you work with those two things? Jupiter wants to make things more abundant, at least on a philosophical and on a generative level. Mars wants to win. So can we win for good in places of despair? That's kind of like a read of those two planets in that house. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Please do. You can go into the app and record us a little voice memo, and I will play it here and answer your question.